Rebecca here with Music Effect Design. Today I'm going to give you guys some tips on how to tape a saber, and I'm also going to be retaping my saber in this video so you can follow along if you want to. I will say a couple of things before we get started. If you are an instructor looking for tips, I hope this is really helpful for you. I'm going to tell you a few things that I've done with different groups in the past. And if you're a performer looking for advice to tape your equipment, please make sure you check with your instructors before you proceed, because some equipment may need different types of tape, or your instructor may have a different way or a different method they want you to use. So just keep that in mind as we get started today. My saber is a 39-inch king saber with a metal blade and a metal hilt. So I've never taped it for anything other than protection for myself. When we tape a flag, we tape it to literally hold the flag together, right? The silk and the pole have to be connected. We have to use tape there. When we tape rifles, we often tape them to reinforce them. We want to make sure we use that strapping tape so that the wood doesn't split, or if it does, it's still held together. I've never been worried about my saber coming apart or anything like that. I'm not really using tape to reinforce anything. I like to tape the blade in a nice decorative way. And then I like to tape the handle here as well, just to protect it from getting dinged up on the concrete if I drop it outside in the fall, and things of that nature. But I don't tape any part of my saber to actually reinforce it. So if you're looking for information on that, you're gonna have to search somewhere else. But we'll go ahead and get started. The first thing, of course, that I did, I've had this saber for 9 years, so it was previously taped. Step one is take off all of your old tape, but I already did that today. If you've ever taken off old tape, you'll notice you get that nice sticky residue all over everything. So I'm a big fan of Goo Gone. It's gonna dissolve the adhesive. So I just sprayed a little bit on my saber and rubbed it down with a rag. You can kind of see there's still a little bit on this side. I did better on the back, but it's not sticky anymore, so I'm gonna go ahead and start retaping. The first thing I'm actually going to do is start with the handle. So I want to tape this metal part of my handle. I don't tape this bottom part down here, nor do I tape the outer cage. I just tend to make sure the screw is covered. I have had other sabers in the past, different brand sabers, where the screw has come out, so I want to make sure that's covered. And then I'm also going to tape the whole handle black. This is one part of the saber where I've seen people do different colors. I always do black tape to match the black handle, but maybe your show has like a yellow theme and you want to tape your handle yellow, just to kind of help with your putting your whole show together with some design. I've seen groups do that as well. But I'm just going to use some black tape here. So I have my black electrical tape, and what I'm going to do is just make sure that I go over the top of the screw here. So I'm going to kind of start going vertically. I have just enough space to pass it through the hole here. And I'm just going to kind of wrap it around, overlapping enough that I end up kind of going at a diagonal until I get all the way around that top part. It doesn't always look super great, so you might want to use some scissors and cut off specific pieces. But once I have that done, I'm gonna just start wrapping around, and I'm just gonna do one layer. Again, I'm not doing this to keep my saber together. I'm just doing this to kind of protect the metal, and then, you know, keep it from getting scuffed up or cutting my hand. I'm not gonna cut my hand on this part, of course, but I could potentially scuff it up if I dropped it on the concrete. So just wanna get that all covered up. My tape's a little large to go through the hole here. Gonna turn it sideways. And once I have that all covered up, I'm just going to rip it off. Again, you might want to use scissors if you're not used to ripping the electrical tape off. But there we have it, nice and covered. The whole top now. This is not silver, it's covered with black, except for this last little part right down here at the bottom. And I have the screw covered there on the top too, so that's all covered there. And that's all I'm gonna do for the hilt of my saber. Just wrap that tape around there. Now, as far as taping the blade, you do have a couple of options. You're definitely going to want to make sure that you cover the tip. This is the part that's probably the most scary for me. I have accidentally gotten a Sabre stuck in a gym floor, also in the grass, stuff like that. Very easy to do if it lands the wrong way. So you definitely want to make sure you cover the tip. Some people will just do that though. They'll cover the last little bit of the tip. They'll put on some cheater tapes and just spin with the blade silver, the whole rest of it uncovered. You can totally do that. I don't want to do that because I still have some tape residue on mine, but that is one option. Another option that I've done before and that I've seen people do before, one year I had my students spinning on a mostly white floor, and I didn't really want them spinning a mostly white Sabre because I thought it would blend in and not be very good. I wanted some of the shininess, but I didn't want it like more of that naked blade look like what I just talked about. So one thing that you can do is you can take your tape, and I'm gonna put it just like on the skinny side, right in the middle, and you can just tape all the way down, kind of one long piece, and fold it over. So see, I'm only taping about half, the bottom half. So this is the bottom part where it curves up. You can tape halfway down, halfway on your Sabre. You might want to do 2 layers of tape. You might just want the one, but then you have that white, kind of what we're used to on the Sabre, but you also have the silver on top, so you'll get that little bit of a flashy look. I've done this before, like I said, but it's not my favorite look, so I'm gonna take this bit of tape off. But just an example to kind of show you another option. What I personally prefer to do is have the whole blade covered. Some people might start the way I had just started and just do like long strips of tape. You can just go all the way down. That'd probably be pretty quick. I prefer to do more of the candy cane method where I just wrap the tape around a bunch of times. When I do the candy cane method, I'm gonna go all the way down my Sabre and all the way back up. It is more tape, so it is gonna make the Sabre a little bit heavier, but I think they're light enough anyway. It's not too bad. Of course, I also like spinning heavy rifles, so maybe listening to me on that isn't the best idea, but I do think it offers the most protection. Whenever I do the candy cane method all the way down and back up, I have to retape my Sabre way less often than if I leave it exposed or just do that one layer of tape. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna start at the top here, and I'm gonna get all the way up against the bottom of the cage. I'm gonna go around one full time, and then I'm gonna start pulling my tape up at an angle. So now I'm gonna get this nice angle, and I'm just gonna begin wrapping the tape around. I wanna make sure I have a little bit of an overlap. So you can see here, a little bit of an overlap right there with the tape, and I'm just gonna continue this all the way down my Sabre. All right, I have gotten all the way to the tip of my Sabre, candy caning around one time. I always like to tape the tip last because that's the part that I end up having to retape the most. So I want that tape to be on top. That way I can take it off and just retape the tip a lot easier. but I don't like just doing the candy cane down. I like it going back, so you end up with like a little X pattern going down. So you'll see right now I kind of have this pattern. It's not super even, but I have these little overlaps going down. What I want to do is I want to cross my tape going back. So I'll just get this started here. And then you can kind of see that now at the top, I have this sort of zigzag. I'm going back the other way with the tape, and that is going to give me a little X pattern. If you take a little bit more time with it than I did, you'll have a little bit nicer pattern. I like doing it this way because it gives you 2 layers of tape, so you don't have to retape it quite so often. So we'll just go all the way back down the opposite way. All right, once I get to the top, I'm just gonna make sure that I have a nice flat piece here. And I am gonna use my scissors now to get this cut nice and straight. And tape that on, so it's just nice and flat at the top. The reason I like that top part to be flat is because that's where I'm going to write my initials. If you have like school savers and you do numbers, it's a good place to keep it. I just get out my Sharpie and write my initials at the top. It's a little bit out of the way so that people can't necessarily see it. I write it on the side that's typically faced towards me, so it's even less noticeable, but that's where I mark my name so that everyone will know that this one is my Sabre. The last thing that I want to do with my Sabre is add my cheater tape and my spot tape. This is something that you want to do probably any way you've taped your Sabre. So I said cheater tape and spot tape. We also still need to tape the tip of the Sabre as well. We'll go ahead and start with the spot tape since I got my scissors out. I'm going to get my black tape out again, and I'm going to cut just a little piece. I'm going to cut the end off so that it's straight. So I just have a little rectangular piece. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to balance my Sabre on my fingers. See if I can find where the balance point is. It's somewhere right around here. So I'm going to take the side that's facing towards me, and I'm going to put my black piece of tape there so you can't see it, but I can see it on my side. That's going to help me find the rotation point when I'm trying to spot a catch. The other sort of marker that I'm going to do is I'm going to do one cheater tape. Spot tape's about the third closest to the hilt. I'm going to do another cheater tape closer to the tip. I just have a little measuring tape, nice little wiggly measuring tape, and I'm going to measure 13 inches in for my 39-inch Sabre. So that's about right here. And I'm going to take my white tape now, because this is just something I'm doing for me to feel. And I'm going to just wrap my white tape around a couple times, just so it's thick enough that I can feel it when I'm spinning. And this is going to be my cheater tape. So usually on my Sabre, I have my cheater tape down here and my spot tape up here. And those are my 2 points of reference. Kind of like how in flag we have thirds, that's about what we have here as well. Okay. The last thing that we need to do, of course, is tape the tip. This is the part, like I said, that I'm always the most cautious about and wanting to make sure that I have protected. There are a couple of different ways that you can do this. Some people even have like caps, plastic caps that cover the tips, cover the cage to keep them nice and protected. I might have had those at some point, but I've definitely lost them if I did. So I just use plain electrical tape for the tip as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the tape on the flat part of the Sabre. I'm just going to put it on the back here, maybe an inch down away from the tip, so just a little bit away from the tip, have it started there. And I'm going to hold on to it. I'm going to give myself a little bit of tape past the tip, and then I'm going to wrap the tape around. So I have this sort of like really thick tape spiral. So I have it taped to the back, and I'm going to use this little tape spiral, and I'm going to just go back and forth over the tip of the Sabre, and then cut that off. So it's not very cute, but it's pretty thick then right there, the tape that I put over the top, and I'm going to tape over this now to hold it in place. I like that method because it feels a lot simpler than just like cutting 50 pieces of tape to put over that tip. Okay. I put another piece over the top, still not super pretty. So now I'm going to use some pieces on the side, and I'm going to wrap around just to make it look a little bit nicer. So I'm going to take short-ish pieces, but I'm gonna put one on one side. Actually, I think I'm gonna go over the top first. So flat side to flat side, just to make sure the corners are covered. And then I'm gonna go over the long side again, so the opposite way. This piece is a little long. Then I'm going to go ahead and do a little mini candy cane just around the end again, so it kind of lines up and matches the pattern that I have on the rest of my Sabre. So I'm just going to start a little bit away from the tip. And I'm going to come around here, try to make it nice and neat and match. And I'm going to get as close to the tip as I can, and then come back down. All right, so it sort of blends in with the rest of my pattern. I think it's maybe going the opposite way, but it's definitely a lot thicker. If you look from the side, Sabre's pretty thin up through here, but you can see this part at the end's a little bit thicker where I've added some more tape. I like that just so it feels more protective to me, makes me feel a little bit better about it. But this tape is all on the top, so if, you know, this end pokes through and I need to retape it, I only have to take off the tape right here at the bottom. I don't have to take all of the tape off my whole blade, because I have found this piece needs to be retaped a lot more often than the rest of the Sabre. I hope this helped you guys out. Hope I gave you some good ideas, and if you guys have any questions, always feel free to comment below. Thanks, guys.